In-laws offer to watch toddler when delivering baby number 2, back out and drop toddler off at the hospital. I'm due with baby number 3 in a few weeks. My parents set everything up to watch my 2 children while I was in the hospital. Unexpectedly, my father recently lost his job and money became very tight for them. Due to some health issues, he would not be able to watch them alone, and my mom is still willing, but I know the financial burden it would put on them to take a few days of unpaid leave to care for my kids. While we would be happy to pay her a usually salary for the few days, they are too proud to accept it and insist they can make it work. My husband wants to use his parents again. I'm not even sure where to begin with these people, but there's a lot of history spanning back the 15 years I've been with their son. But my husband wanted them to watch our toddler while I was on the hospital with my C-section with baby 2. He thought it would give them time away from me to bond with him. They did not feel comfortable for the entire anticipated stay, but agreed to an overnight stint, roughly 30 hours. I worked it out with my mom to take over after and so that she wouldn't miss any time from work. My in-laws are retired and don't have many hobbies, so they were incredibly flexible. My mom would also be able to stay an additional day when we were back to help my recovery. Well, 6 hours after we left the hospital, my FIL calls DH annoyed and said that had been thinking how we shouldn't have kids if we were just going to mooch off family to take a vacation when the nurses were trained to care for me. FIL was at the hospital with my toddler and made my husband walk down to pick him up. They didn't want to see the baby, they just wanted to get back home. For the record, the kids up until that point had been watched by someone other than me or husband exactly 2x, the anatomy scan and an ER trip, both just a few hours and only once with them per their request. So me, for hours post C-section who still can't move very well, got left at the hospital alone. I had to call my mom who was forced to take unpaid leave from work, find someone to watch her dog, pack and scramble over to help out. The nurses were very busy in the afternoon and would come quickly change the baby, hand him to me and feed while charting the corner, then re-swaddle him and put him down. I didn't get much skin to skin as they were worried about me dropping him or needing something without another adult present to keep an eye out. The evening nurses were better and I was slightly more mobile, so they trusted me more, but the first few hours I was so heartbroken. I could have scheduled the C-section for a day more accommodating to my mother and gotten me and my husband time to bond with my newborn. But because of the surprise, my husband was gone roughly 12 hours and my mom was unable to stay extra to help because she couldn't devote that much additional time away from home. I'm still emotional over the experience. I know there are very tough people that go through the whole birth alone, but this just wasn't how I envisioned it. I'm terrified of allowing my in-laws to help out again, even though they insist that our oldest is less boring, so it should be fine. We have an amazing friend group, but they all have young kids so we can call on them to help. I don't really have many options. I guess I was just a vent post grinning face with sweat. I'm hurt and scared it'll happen again, and angry that they think my husband spending my son's first few hours present with him makes him a crappy father for ignoring the toddler. Update. In-laws watch kids during my birth after changing their minds and returning toddler to hospital last birth. Reddit. I didn't expect my last post to get so popular. At the time, I had planned to post an update, but honestly it all went so smoothly I was embarrassed to say anything. Last post TLDR, my husband wanted my in-laws to watch my toddler for the birth of my third. This is after FIL agreed to watch toddler for birth of baby number 2, got bored and angry that my husband was lazy, and dropped toddler off at the hospital, leaving us scrambling for childcare, so my husband could be there early postpartum. Our marriage is in a much better state, but the relationship with the in-laws is still one area that we massively disagree on. It has gotten somewhat better. FIL asked me how I was at Christmas. This is the first time had spoken to me in nearly 5 years after finding an empty vodka bottle from my friend distillery on display and assuming I am an alcoholic. CPS wasn't called, but considered and threatened to if they heard either of us drank again. There was no discussion or inquiry where it came from. Neither of us really drink much. It was just assumed and we were told there would be no discussion or they'd cut us out of their lives. My baby is now 11 months old. We've seen maybe 5 or 6x since birth. My FIL has said hello and goodbye each time with the occasional "how are you" sprinkled in. He's not, to my knowledge, told my kids how bad a mom I am since having baby number 3. My in-laws are amazing though with the kids. They aren't the grandparents that want to watch TV with the kids. They come with balls, bats, bubbles, chalk, and the kids' favorite snacks and play hard until the kids are ready to drop. They usually listen for what the kids are into and buy them a gift and include a thank you for playing handwritten card. My kids adore them. We hear about it every day. It is still my husband's dream that we will all get along. 2 years ago, my MIL offered my husband money to divorce me if he'd sue for full custody, as she feels I'm narcissistic. At that point, I quit all contact with her that wasn't in person, which was mainly pictures of the kids and drawings and notes the kids wanted to mail. I did not demand my husband stop a relationship with them, but I did say I wanted them cut off as much as possible for mine and the kids' lives. This included any pictures he wanted to send of either us or the kids be approved through me first. Well, wouldn't you know, he downloaded Snapchat and had them do the same so he could send stuff without getting caught. He admitted this and thinks I overreacted to the CPS threat, the divorce incentives, and the book sent here about living with a difficult wife. He worries if we don't communicate about the kids, we will lose them being in our lives forever. I'm getting a licensure renewal in 2 weeks, which will require 5 days of someone watching the kids. I found friend for 2 days, but my husband insisted my in-laws help for 1 day. We set up months ago. My so gets a text yesterday from Emile apologizing, saying she backed out because she wants to visit my brother-in-law's new house. My husband called to get the details, but brother-in-law is moving the week before, and my in-laws offer to drive down his stuff for him as he's only 33 and too young to drive the U-Haul 9 hours. Irrelevant, but particularly triggering to me as we moved 26 hours to come live near them at age 22. We paid for plane tickets for them to fly down and just ride along with each of us to help with logistics. The day before they decided we were asking too much and never got on the plane. Husband asked if she really had to be there and if he could pay to have a car towed behind the U-Haul so she could see the grandkids and spend time with them. She laughed and asked if we really didn't have that many friends. This incident is a relatively small straw in comparison, but I'm done with them. I told him that they are not welcome in my house, and I'd divorce him if he continued pestering me about a relationship with them. I told him I was pretty irritated about going behind my back to send info, that it felt akin to cheating, and I've sat on it for a few weeks, trying to see how I can still trust him. He didn't say much other than, I knew you would overreact. I should have just taken an extra PTO day and came up with an excuse for my mom. Now you are upset over nothing. Again, I'm not sure what advice you can give. I feel I'm being gaslit as my husband is constantly downplaying everything, but I strongly feel these people are toxic. I constantly have to remind myself that they talk to exactly one other family member besides their kids want my kids, but the rest of the family they've cut out. He experienced major social issues at work too. That when someone has that many problems everywhere, then it's likely that they are a big problem. Update number 3 with the crazy in-laws. I posted yesterday about my in-laws and how toxic they were and how my DH still forces me to be around them and hides his communication with them from me. The lies about it when caught. Thanks for the comments and messages. He called his dad last night. DH said he wanted to take a little space because he feels he's so hard to be around. Husband said that he doesn't feel FIL treats me with much respect and DH is tired of it and wants me treated better or else there will be little contact from here on out. FIL got mad and claimed that he doesn't have to treat me well because he thinks I'm disrespectful to DH and unworthy of any respect from anyone. His example of my disrespectful speech was from 14 years ago, a joke I made about DH to them about how he snores and it can be hard to sleep sometimes. I was 21 the week after our honeymoon, and it wasn't anything more than, I wish I had known he snored before marriage. Maybe it would have changed my answer about sleeping with it the rest of my life. A quick wink and a kiss. Anyway, DH says he's sure he has to have better examples because that's crazy. But regardless, I've changed. FIL says he'll wait and see before treating me differently. DH again stands up for me and said that it's DH's job to manage his marriage and the father-in-law's job to love his son's wife as a daughter. And if he can't do so, there would be little contact in the future. FIL said that we both have to have things our way all the time. And it's always like this with you people, is it? FIL thought no contact would be best for a time. So regardless if DH changed or not, it doesn't sound like they want much to do with us at the moment. But I hope this wakes them up. IL's MO, though, is to write a hateful email about how we are wrong, bad people, and then request that we not discuss the email or topics of what they perceive as bad. We got a few dozen over the years. The latest was because I make kombucha and, again, a CPS threat for giving alcohol to minors when I allow the kids to taste it. They included a prayer in which we be made miserable and fall on hard times until we repent. The stuff I make is half as alcoholic as Tropicana orange juice, as in NA. If any Reddit followers would like to participate in the kombucha debauchery with me, I'd be happy to share clinking glasses. Anyway, I may update in an in-law subreddit depending on how things unfold, but for now, I appreciate all the help from my last post.